Hello, everyone. I am Clinisha. I'm the founder and CEO of Uniekly Me. Uniekly Me is a nonprofit organization that is geared towards family issues, trying to address the issues in regards to a single parent home, homes where families are feuding, or where there are both parents and there's a troubled child. Mostly, our purpose is to address the issues with the youth. Society has created a disconnect for parenting in their homes or for us to be able to put morals into the children or train them, their character. Society has a big influence, and most of all is social media. So, Uniquely Me is supposed to embrace the young teenagers, teenage girls going into their young adult stages. Some of them are feeling isolated. They isolate their own selves. They may have things that they haven't addressed with their parents or family. They have outsourced their issues to their friends and got the perspective of them. And so there is a big miscommunication. Instead of them addressing the issues, they may have been afraid to speak. So they have resorted, most of the generation now resort to their friend circles. So with that being said, Uniquely Me is supposed to address all of these issues by bringing the parent and the child, even if it's not your own child. Maybe your father outside of the home of your child. It could be an issue to where the father and the mother are having problems, and the child is in the middle of it. Sometimes our children become overwhelmed with the issues dealing with their own parents, and we, as parents, I say we because I am a parent, we tend to cover it up and would tell our child, stay out of grown folk business or something like that, not knowing that the child is actually getting scarred from just seeing, even though they don't say anything out of respect for the parents. Them seeing those issues in the feud, they are traumatized or it's bothering them, it's affecting them, and the parents are like, well, what's wrong? And they're not actually wanting to talk about that. With that being said, with all of the issues, that is the purpose behind Uniquely Me. Outside of that, on the side of that, we're going to do a round table. So today is the official day that we are launching our very first episode for Uniquely Me's Roundtable. Today, we're just going to introduce ourselves. I have a crew, and my crew with me today is Bola Ayantuga, and we're going to just talk about life, talk about our purpose in life, and our perspective about Uniquely Me. So, hope you guys enjoy it. We're back. I have Bola Ayantuga here. This is my crew member. She agreed to join me on this nice journey for Uniquely Me. So, Bola, go ahead and let them know who you are.
Hi everyone, my name is Bola and today I'm a mom of four and I work as a correction officer and I'm so happy to be on board with my board member here, Miss Clinisha. I'm so happy and we have so many topics that we're going to be discussing. So I hope you guys stay tuned, enjoy it and share. Please share it.
Yeah. So, Bola, when you came on, I didn't really tell you everything regarding the organization. I did tell you I am starting an organization, and I told you what it was about. But I asked you, I said, would you like to be a part of it? And she actually agreed to it, not knowing, only because of the friendship that we do have and the communication that we have. She actually, I'm grateful that she entrusted in me to say, yeah, I'll be on board. So it was at our first board meeting.
Yes.
And I told you, I was like, I need you to be like my secretary, my treasurer, to help me plan things out. And she was like, what? I said, it's something I prayed about. Everything dealing with this organization, I prayed about. I fought with God on it. I told you about it. 2019, our other crew member, she was the first one I called. And I fought with God about it because I was like, me? You want me to do this? Like, it was in regards to the young adult fighting with their identity. Because a lot of them they're having identity crisis because of what society is saying they should be. Our children are lost. Some of us are actually lost,
Yes.
you know? So it's just having a big influence. But for you, I was like, look at her. God showed me your speaking gift. So it was like you have this effect on people to where you like to encourage those. And we both are working in the prison system.
Yes, we are.
So tell us about that.
Well, I thank God because I grew up in a different background. Mm-hmm. So I grew up in an African home, mm-hmm. and being here in America is total opposite. It's like where I grew up is like when your parents are talking to you, dare not look at them. You have to be looking down. So it's like when your parents are talking, you can't argue with your parents. Absolutely. It's yes, ma'am, yes, sir. So, but here is so different. Our children are being taught, oh, you have to stare at them. And it's like, to me, it's like I have teenagers too. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh boy, I didn't do most of the things they do here now and they get away with it. I'm like, you dare not do that while growing up and working in the prison system. I have to bring that in, yeah. Working with the males especially is difficult sometimes, but I thank God for the calling upon my life, and God has been using me to like change a lot of them, to the point that they will come to me and be like, oh, me say why? I can't believe that that you have this in you. I tell them like God can use anybody at any time.
That's right.
Not expect me to be here for long. The little time I have with you, whatever I'm teaching you, I need you to utilize it. Mm-hmm. And I thank God so far it's been going great. It's been going great. And when you talk to me about this organization, we were just chatting. And you were like, wait a minute, I have this in my mind. I was like, oh boy, where is this going? And when you're not introduced, I was like, okay. I said, God, you're doing something. And I guess that's the new chapter that I have to
embrace.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I remember that when I brought it up to you, you were like, and it's funny because you said you had just been kind of praying to God about certain things. So to me, it's amazing how God works. Yes, it's amazing how He communicates with us, yes. And He reveals certain things to us. And sometimes, I guess because I'm older now, sometimes I just sit back, I just be like, it's funny, He has a sense of humor. Oh, yes. My children, they used to always tell me, Mom, how do you know that? How do you be knowing everything? And I'm just like, I don't know. The way that I reveal to them that I know things, they think that I have a third eye on them. But I do not. It's just it's a mother instinct, but it's also the gift that God implanted in me. But me going all this time with my children, my youngest one is 16 years old now. My oldest one is 20. I had no idea that this is what He was calling me to. Mm-hmm. I've always thought that God called me to a women's ministry, which is still the same. It's still women's ministry. But I didn't think that He had this big vision for me. So coming from when He shows me something about identity, that's why I was like, me? Because for a long time, I didn't know who I was. I knew who I was, and I knew what I did. My gift, everybody know me for singing. My own family didn't know about me singing, but anybody else, everybody else knew about me singing. But my family found out about my gift at my grandmother's funeral in 2014. I had to get up in front of them, and I had to sing. And believe it or not, speaking of working in a prison system, the unit that I was at the time for TDCJ was in Atascocita. Me not knowing, my mom comes from a small town, country town, Centerville, Texas, and it's in Leona County. Well, the warden that I had at the time, he kept saying, he was telling us a story, and he kept talking about Leona County. And I guess I was looking at him weird. My face tell you everything. So he looks at me and say, what do you know about Leona County? And I said, I didn't say anything, sir. Yes. I was just like, I didn't say anything, sir. Who's your parents? Everything stems back to our parents. Yes. My mom passed in 2003. My dad passed in 1995. In 2003, I got pregnant with my oldest daughter after my mom passed. So they never met their grandparents. So for him to look at me and say that, I was like, what do you mean, who's my parents? Why? I'm very private. So especially a warden, I was just like, I was in laundry. So I was just like, Why? And he's like, who's your grandmother?
Oh
And I told him, I said, I knew she was well known. So I said, it's West End Tryon. And he looked at me. He said, Cindy Lou. Nobody calls her Cindy unless they know her personally. So I was just, my heart just dropped. And I was like,
Who are you?
he's like, go ask your grandmother, tell her, do she know Troy Simpson?
Oh.
I was like, yes, sir. So I talked to my grandmother every day at that time. And at the time, it was actually 2014, and I was talking to her. And I called her as soon as I got off work, like I do any old day. And I asked her, I said, we call her Big Mama, Big Mama, Troy Simpson. And she just lit up on the phone and, oh, that's your second cousin. I said, what?
Oh, wow.
So I was kind of like blown away, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is my boss and whatever. So the funny thing is I came back to work the next day and I tried to avoid him. And I got like past him thinking I was fine because he was talking. And he's like, what's up, cuz? And I was like, oh my God, that is so embarrassing. Tell me the thing? He didn't tell me anything. So I was just like, and he looked at me, he said, Beverly is your mother. And I said, yeah, that's my mom. He said, you favor her, you look like her, you wear her. I said, wow. So I was like, okay. So 2 weeks later, literally, my grandmother fell sick. She never gets sick. She falls so sick. She had this ear infection or something, and apparently it started getting bad because at the time my grandmother was about 90 years old. Okay, so we ended up having. She was still driving. She was still doing everything. I'm sorry, she was 90. She was 92. Let me. Okay. So anyway, they brought her down. My uncle brought her down, and she never got better. And it took like about a month and a half, and then she passed away. So here we are at the funeral, and I'm singing, and guess who's sitting on the front row? Your word is your cousin. My boss is sitting on the front row, so it just showed them a whole other side of me. And then everybody's coming up to me, oh, you need to be in the studio. You need to be, and I'm like, I've been in the studio for the last 2 years. Nobody knew. So everybody knows me on that level, but here I am still, God, what do you want me to do outside of this? Like, what do I do? How do I use the gifts you gave me to do? Yeah. So then I became a worship leader. So I was in the center stage, which I hate. I don't like the camera. I don't like the light. I don't like to be in the front. I like to be in the. So we're doing these things, and in the midst of all of that, I ministered for like the next 4 years. I took it really hard. She passed away December of 2014. But I took it really hard, and I really wanted to quit. No. Yeah, I started to quit. So in the midst of trying to find my identity in life, it's like that's something I couldn't quit because that was the only way that God could reach me to worship to Him and to be effective. Yes. So and I'm 40. I'm gonna be 42. I can't even tell you how old I was at the time. Let me see. Do the math. I was in my 30s. Let's say. I think I was 32. Okay, so
that's over 10 years.
Yeah. So I was doing all of these things, and eventually in 2018, 2019, it came to a stop. And God told me that singing is my comfort zone. You see, in 2018. So here I am. I'm like, okay, what is that supposed to mean? So it's like I'm calling you higher. He called me to a church to go and join a church. I'm not big on joining churches. I left that church that I was a worship leader at due to church hurt. And so I had to find a new church home, but I was more like comfortable at home worshiping online. So I go to the church, and I've been following his leadership for a long time, since 2009. That's good. Yeah. So once I did that, and God was like, you don't plant your feet here, you're not going to birth what I put in you. That's right. So I was kind of like, okay. And I heeded to the call. I obeyed. And here's 2019, and He gives me a vision to do that. And I'm like, wait a minute, but I'm asking you about my identity. You want me to
take all this.
I'm telling you, I'm like, wow. So that's when he told me singing has become your comfort zone. Call me out of that and step into this and step into the ministry. Not necessarily, ministry is not necessarily you have to be in the pulpit. It's for you to
Oh
reach the
yes,
people.
there's
You know,
several arms though.
right. So that's how he like showed me everything. So everything he shows me is like I can see. I have a gift to see. So when he shows me people, I see certain things. I see it more spirit in the spiritual realm. So when he showed me you, and I said, "Wait a minute," I was like, "I'm gonna call you back. Let me pray about it. I'm gonna call
Yeah.
you." So we talked about that, and I asked you. The first question I asked you is, "What is your purpose?"
Yes.
Yeah. And you told me you think you're supposed to speak. You think, and I said, okay, because that's what God showed me, you know? So, anyway, the point is, we have to be effective. It all stems back to our parents. Every time somebody recognizes you, it's amazing how they can tell you who your parent is. But this generation now, they can't, we don't, us as adults, mind you, I'm in my 30s and I'm still asking about my identity. So we're talking about the teenage girls now because it's much more.
There's so many things out there, the social media, sometimes it's like it baffles me, like, what our kids are learning online.
Yes.
It's like the things they see, it's like they're not actually coming to us parents. I think most of us now, we get too busy with work, paying bills and all
That's a
that
problem.
we don't actually invest in the lives of these young ones right now, because there's so many things out there. But it's not just the female, but the males too.
Yes.
Like my kids usually play like there's I have a podcast that we play in my car is a trivia for kids.
Yes.
So my kids don't have video games.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm so surprised. It's like when it gets to the topic of like video games, and like my son knows virtually everything.
Wow. Because it's something he's
Pokemon and
interested
stuff
in.
Yeah, so to me, I was like, son, we don't even have any of this at home. How do you get to know this? It was like, well, I have my computer. So now it clicked to me like, okay, now I have to like look at the things that he have access to on the computers, like what else can he have access to if I don't put like restrictions
My
on most
Lord.
of this things. Our girls, when they see the models, they don't even know like how the life as like what they see things online, but they don't know the story of those people.
Yes.
How do they deal with their normal life outside?
That's right.
They just want to see the image and just feel like, okay, let me just go with it.
That's it. That's it.
But we have to invest in their lives. We have to like stand up and say enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that they don't just take in all the garbage from the social medias.
And your oldest daughter is how old?
She's going to actually in 2 weeks. She's going to be 15. She's going to be 15.
Oh my!
It's like now it's like so much struggles. It's like I'm like, Lord help me every day. I'm like, no, Lord just show me like how to help her. Sometimes I don't want to push her away, and I don't want it to be too free with her that she can, that she'll be like, oh, I can just get away with things. No, I still want her to come to me and tell me things. But still know that there's still gonna be restrictions. And there's still gonna be.
You still have structure.
Yes.
There's a foundation. Yeah, I remember. I was speaking of structure. My daughter told me one day. My oldest daughter, she was 18, and she was like, and like we said, we are raised different.
Yes.
We were raised with structure. I was raised in with both parents in my home. And me, it's just me. Like, so, I mean, thank God the partner that I have in life now is a father figure to my children. But they went for years. I mean, I've had people around to be father figures, their uncle, my friends, or their cousin. They embrace them, but it's not a consistent thing, you see. So speaking of, she told me that we were talking about her job. We were letting her vent about her job while she was getting her hair done. And I said, well, she didn't like that they get to tell you when to go on break. She's working at HEB, so she didn't like the fact that they get to tell you when to go on break and get to tell you how long you get on break. And I looked at her. I said, well, what do you think they're supposed to do? She said, she said, if I need a break, I should be able to take a break. And I said, that's not how it goes, Sanaya. I said, let's talk about it like this. You are an employee. Yes. You are a bagger. You have a schedule. I say HEB is a company, a whole big business.
Yes.
If they let every employee get away and do what they want to do, their business will never be as effective as it is now. You know? And I say, you have to have structure. You know what she said? She goes, structure. Mom, see, that's a strong
That's
word.
a word.
And I just say, it's funny, this generation, they don't like rules, they don't like structure, they don't like. So we're all over the place. But the sad part is, although structure is the way America runs, because they have their own system.
That's right.
We agree with some of it and some of it we don't, right? But they have a system.
Yes.
And it's a reason behind everything, right? Whether it's for their own benefit or for the citizens. The thing about it is that inside of this system, you have the society, and we make up their population.
That's right.
And society is saying, social media, oh, you can do whatever you want to do. You shouldn't allow nobody to do this. You shouldn't allow nobody to control you, blah, 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 blah. You see? And then they're saying, oh, the YouTubers.
Yeah.
They just had this bright idea. Don't get me wrong, because they're very successful, some of them. But they're lost. They're just out there doing whatever. But believe me, whatever you see on camera, and this is why I try to tell my children, they will show you the good things. They're not going to tell you how long it took for them to get there. It wasn't that easy. You have to have the money to put into it, but you have to work for the money.
That's right.
Some of them, maybe you have inherited your parents' fortunes, and maybe your parents were rich and was able to give you the money. Because there's no way in the world an 18-year-old is going to be in a multi-million-dollar home. You see,
No.
they're living with their friends. You know, how did it happen?
That's right.
You have to have a plan, which is the structure. But they don't like that word.
No, they don't. That was what I was telling my daughter this morning on her way to school, because I said, you say you want to be a leader, you want to have your own business and stuff. Like, okay, first of all, your education has to come first.
Education.
You have to have your education first before you can say, okay, let me do this and let me do that. I'm like, if you don't have all this put in place, write out your plans, your goals, and you have to, try to meet these goals. It's not, I know sometimes you don't meet all the goals, but at least put in the effort. Right. When you don't put in the effort, there's no way for you to be successful.
That's right.
And like Bill Gates and all those big people are
yes.
They wake up early, they don't just sleep the whole day.
I'm telling you.
They put in effort to get to where they are today. So for us parents, that's my own thing. It's like for us to like put in the efforts in our children's life. Prayer wise, we have to pray for them.
Yep. You have to cover your children.
Prayers is never too much. You have to pray for them. Show them the word of God. Show them the right part.
Yeah.
So that they don't take in all the silly things they see online and just like, oh, if this person can do it, let me do it. And not knowing that there's steps to actually get to that point.
So what are your thoughts on, because we're talking about children, so let's talk about the adults. What are your thoughts on us adults who are literally doing the same thing? Literally doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of heartbreaking for me to see my peer lost like that. They're looking to fill a void, most of us, and they're filling the void by getting attention a specific way. Like, so what are your thoughts when you see another one of your
Well, to me, I think most of those people, they actually need people like good, strong people in their life. Because when you don't have someone that can hold you accountable for the things you do,
accountability. Nobody likes it.
They have to have people in their life to be firm. Even I'm your friend, I'm not gonna be too loyal to you and see you going the wrong part and just keep quiet. I have to be a faithful friend.
Yes.
Because when I'm too loyal to you, I'm just gonna like turn my eyes to the side and just like I don't keep.
So I think like those people, like I said, us adults that are trying to fill a void, especially women, men too. I can't say they're not. They're trying to fill a void. Everybody have their different way of trying to process their issues. Would you say it's a sign of depression or mental health type of way or anything like that? Like they haven't got to the root of it?
Well, it depends on what it is they're going through or what void they're trying to fill. Because everybody needs something.
Yeah.
To me, I'll say if well, some of them might be depressed and they're trying to fill it with maybe
And depression has many faces.
and
Yeah.
it sure does. So, but to me, I'll say for those others that are going through it, just speak out.
Speak out. That's the thing. You have to talk about it. You have to try to talk about it because nobody will ever know. But sometimes, speaking for myself, I have a tendency. Anybody that knows me. I will isolate myself.
That's why when you have good friends,
yes,
you're not gonna let yourself.
and guess what? That's the thing. If I isolate myself out of the blue, I'm not one to talk on the phone with my friends every day. I will talk to my partner every day. But my friends will speak, check on each other. Hey girl, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Ironically, when I go into isolation, they'll say, hey, I'm just checking on you. You okay? You know what I mean? And I mean, it's important, like you said, to have the right circle. Yeah. It's important to have, and it doesn't mean it's your circle, y'all together 24/7, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't mean that because as adults, we have our families to raise. That's right. We have our children to raise. But sometimes parenting can become overbearing. Yeah, it is. Your children, mine now, my oldest one, man, we had a point where we were feuding. It's this thing where we feud and the way she sees it is not the way I intend for it. It's just like us growing up too. When our parents trying to question us or try to raise to the problem, we were. I can't wait to grow up. I can't wait to. I'm telling you. So they're quick to say something until they're put in that position. I didn't really have a choice. Me coming up, my background, but I never said that to my mom. Oh, you might not voice it out, but in your mind, but you actually do. Well, I've had my moments. I would go in a room, I hate it here. You know what I mean? I think it's funny because I was raised in a church, right? So I was like 15 or 16. I remember the one time my mom felt disrespected from me was when I told her, I said, that ain't what the Bible say. And she looked at me. How dare you? You know what I mean? Like I literally tried to change, and I saw it in her face. I could never forget that. And then like later, I'm just that one. I'm more to myself. Later on that day, that night, I had to go and apologize to her. I said, Mom, I wasn't trying to be rude. Yeah, but it's like, you feeling yourself because I'm learning the Bible now on my own. And so now I'm trying to correct her and she done planted the seed in me. And it's like, how disrespectful was that, But I never was one to talk back to her. And that night when I said something back, it was that. It was like, did she just really? So like our kids now, like you said, they outsource. And instead of them coming to us, I mean, we don't know everything. No, but at least I have your best interest at heart. Of course. I want, and for some of us parents too, I know there's some parents that will tell their children what they want them to do. Mm-hmm. But because of the way that the generation is now, we send our children to school. Mm-hmm. You have to learn how to maneuver because it's no longer, we're in 2024. It's not 1990. No. So even though we grew up with so much structure, I found myself finding different ways. And I would never say I'm the father to my children because I'm not, but I know I have to be a roundabout. I'm a woman, you know what I mean? I'm their mother. I had them from my womb. And the father is a fatherless home, so I would roundabout it, you know what I mean? I would go around it and try to move about. So the issues that we will be discussing will be depression, mental health. Also, say you have a home where you have two parents. So speaking of us, some of us are acting out and we have trauma, but I think some of them forget that they're a parent too because it's so easy. We're working all day. They want to enjoy their money. So they're going out every weekend. Even though they're going with their spouse, you're still leaving the children. And even though the kids are like, I'm fine with it. I like being at home by myself. No, because it's going to have an effect on you later.
It sure
and they
does.
don't see it.
And
Right.
that moment while you're living there by themselves, what are they actually doing?
What are they doing?
Who are they talking to?
Yeah.
Because lately it was towards the end of last year, when you have so much of this these things popping up, the alarm going off,
Yes.
adopted child, this, that. It scared me so much, that I have to call my daughters. I feel like, you see, this is a 14 years old, this is an 11 years old, this is a 16 years old.
I'm telling
missing.
you.
I'm like, please, for me, I'm not saying don't be on TikTok, don't do this, don't do that, don't be on social media. But you have to know,
Yes.
the first things to do about cybersecurity. You have to be very careful.
Yes, yes.
Because not everybody that try to talk to you over the on that social platform is actually who they are.
Yes, absolutely.
You have so much child predators and so many things that day. And for me, I tell my husband, I'm like, please, just try to be there with them, which actually love him today. He does that so much. He spends time with them, but to me, still as the mother, we carry more of the burden. We have to do more.
Yes, that's true.
We have to do more.
That's true. So we're talking about those. You were talking about video games. We were talking about the workload that we have now, that which is an issue too. But America has a system. If you want to survive, you have to work. If you want to have your home, you have to work. You know what I mean? So the kids, they receive it different. They hear us. All they hear is, "Oh, money, 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 money," right? Because that's what they hear. But really, we're trying to teach them that you do have to have structure and take care of what you have to take care. But I think we get so wrapped up in work. Speaking for myself too, so wrapped up in work that we miss certain things. I remember working 3 jobs. We were living in an apartment, but it was big on me. Family time is big for me. I always used to do movie night, but now that my kids are older, they want to do their own movie night. They don't want me in there, So, but I still to this day, my kids will come and lay in my bed, just playing around, even though they don't want to tell me that they miss me like that. Just you being in my space. I can see you miss mommy. I know I've been gone, so I know I need to spend time. But I remember working 3 jobs. I was working for a doctor. I was doing Uber. I was also singing. I was singing on Wednesday and Sunday. But because it was church, I could take my children with me. I remember doing a paper route for Houston Chronicle at the same time. Wow. And Houston Chronicle was 7 days a week. You should be called a super mom. No, man. So I would take them with me. Hey, come on, let's go on my paper route. Because I was like, I can leave them there, but I have to make some money to, I hated, it got to a point I hated telling my children I don't have it. I don't have it, So they're going to school and they're seeing, simple things, little stuff, So I got tired of that and I was working, but it's not worth the sacrifice of your children's emotional well-being, So it does cause them to go a little wayward because they just sit in there. Thank God my children have tried to make it work and they've seen a lot. They've seen me do a lot, like go through a lot. So thank God they had each other, but to some extent, when the oldest one got older, she has her best friend. The youngest one's still in high school, but they're still best friend, but it's still, I'm grown now. I need my own space. Yes. So, but they're like still best friends, Yeah. But it's a soft spot for me for a child to feel abandoned. By the age of 20, both of my parents were gone, so I had to mother myself while I'm mothering my child. So that's a hard thing to do. That's a big tool. And on top of that, I did have my husband at the time. We were together, but we ended up getting divorced when I was 25. Like about 6 months after we had Serenity. No, 9 months after we had Serenity, we got separated. So I'm mothering myself. I'm mothering my children. I'm trying to go through the divorce. I'm trying to, talk about depression. That's a lot of. Talk about losing yourself. Like, man, I'm not good enough. I'm telling you, I'm not good enough. I don't think, what did I do wrong? Kind of thing, well, I'm okay with it. I don't want to make him miserable, so I'm not going to ask him to stay. If I'm making you miserable, you're not happy, you can leave. Go ahead and go. What do I say? I'm never going to force somebody to stay. No. But it had an effect on the oldest one because she's been there with us the longest. And she was so upset, you know. But at the same time, we were young. So he was young. He was trying to find his own self as well. So those things end up having, it takes an effect on your children. So your children act different because they have different experience, even though they're going through the same thing. You know what I mean? So Serenity is was 9 months old. So she didn't really grow up with her dad like that. She grew up seeing her dad here and there, but not on an everyday basis like the oldest one was. So their thought process is different, but now that they're older, they carry the same thing. So it's really important, even if the parents are not in the home together, it's really important for them to be very intentional about co-parenting and put their feelings to the side. Yes, unfortunately, it doesn't always happen like that, but it's very important because it does affect our children. It does. It affects our children mentally. Remember the story you said about video games, GTS. Yeah. Remember the little boy and the little girl, the brother and the sister. They had a shootout with the cops. I think was she 12 and he was like 8? Yeah, it was something like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was shocked. I was like, oh my God. Huh.
It is a very scary, it's very scary.
And they recorded it. They like it's about to be GTF in here.
Because they think it's fun.
Hey, I was like, man, that was very, and then I'm like, the other story I heard recently, Christmas. You have two brothers
that were arguing
over Christmas gifts, who got more, and he pulled a gun and he shot his brother.
That is, I heard that, I got chills. I'm like, how can?
Mm-mm. And the parent is there. She's there. And they're like, hey, cut it out. You know, kind of like it's not that serious. But the way they receive it and their perspective is different. And so that's why it's important to us. Now, we may not be able to touch everybody, but at the same time, the least, when God gives you a calling to do something, you have to be effective in whatever you're doing. Right. So our hope is to touch as many homes, as many families as we can. We will have different people's perspective on a platform. We will discuss different things, you know, like I just said, the sibling that shot the other sibling, that sibling rivalry, like jealousy and envy comes into play. The Bible speaks about all of that. You know, the other part of where I said the little boy and the little sister got into a shootout with the police officers. Obviously, something is not okay. You know, they have the influence, again, social media, video games is part of social media. They're doing those things. So it's very important for us to be intentional and monitor our children and what they're doing outside. It's even more dangerous now for them to even just go outside and play. So anyway, you have anything else?
Right, we just want to say thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching, and please, we would like for you to share this video so they can reach more lives. And also like the videos and share. Subscribe to our YouTube channel too. And we wish to spend more time with you. If you have any suggestions, throw it out there. Yeah, we'll listen. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Also, you can go to our Instagram page. It is at Uniekly Me. Also, YouTube is at Uniekly Me. If you go onto YouTube and you go and subscribe to our channel, you can like the video, share the video, whatever the case may be. We appreciate your support. We will be doing it once a month, and we will have these roundtables. If you have comments, you can go ahead and share them. And sometimes, if you would like to feature on our live, we'll do a live and try to get your opinion so you can also have the conversation. And we would like to get your perspective on the subject that we're talking about. So I hope you guys enjoy the show. We will see you guys next month.
Thank you.
Bye.